Not nearly enough was made of this story last week. Jim Harbaugh not only signed Trey Lance, but he gave Trey Lance some money, up to $6.2 million for next year. Not bad for a kid the Cowboys just dumped in favor of Joe Milton, who will make a little over $1 million a year for the next 3 years. Jerry's got to save some pennies at the most important position in all of sports, quarterback, so he can overpay Micah Parsons, who's no Myles Garrett or TJ Watt, or to me, even Trey Hendrickson or Aiden Hutchinson. At least I haven't seen that yet. Now, I believe Jim Harbaugh is thinking Colin Kaepernick. Jim Harbaugh stood on the sideline last August at Jerry World for that final preseason game, Chargers at Cowboys, and up close and personal, Jim Harbaugh watched Trey Lance throw for 373 yards and run for 90 yards, along with throwing 5 interceptions. Look, I have long loved Trey Lance, but I immediately posted a video saying even I can't defend that. But I believe Harbaugh saw some Kaepernick. I believe Harbaugh flew back to LA that night thinking, man, I could work with that. Trey Lance is still only 24 years of age. He's 6 feet 4 inches tall by 225 pounds. And to me, he looks faster in pads, greater acceleration in pads while he's being chased than he timed at the combine, which was 4.69. Big arm, strong work ethic. Yep, some Kaepernick there for sure. I loved Trey Lance before his draft, just from the little I saw of him at North Dakota State. And so did 2 of the greatest minds in NFL history, Mike Shanahan and his son Kyle, who plunged. They traded 3 firsts and a third to go up from 12 to 3 in the first round and take Trey Lance. I gave them a standing ovation. But Trey Lance, after playing very little college football, in part because of the pandemic, was quickly thrown into a raging 49er fire, a loaded roster in need of a quarterback better than Jimmy Garoppolo, with fans expecting Super Bowl because 2 years before they had been to the Super Bowl and barely lost thanks to Jimmy Garoppolo's collapse in the fourth quarter to Kansas City. Trey Lance soon fractured a finger on his throwing hand. He tried to play through it. He struggled. He lost confidence. And his 49er career ended fairly quickly when he fractured his ankle in September of 22. I thought my Cowboys stole him for a 4th-round pick. Now I believe Jim Harbaugh stole him for $6.2 million. Look, I realize Harbaugh oohed and awed over Justin Herbert when Harbaugh took over the Chargers, obviously trying to rebuild Herbert's battered confidence. I thought Jim Harbaugh worked miracles with Justin Herbert last season as the Chargers did make the playoffs. Then came that playoff game at Houston. Justin Herbert completed under 50% of his passes, 14 of 32 with 1 TD versus 4 interceptions. Final score, Texans 32, Chargers 12. I'm a big fan of Jim Harbaugh. I badly wanted Jerry Jones to hire Jim Harbaugh. But I've never believed in Justin Herbert, and I said so publicly before Justin Herbert went 6th overall in the draft. Huge arm, without great touch or feel for playing the position of quarterback. Sometimes a little rock-headed. I believe Jim Harbaugh isn't completely sold on Justin Herbert. So remember what Harbaugh did to 1st overall pick in the draft, Alex Smith, week 11, 2012. Harbaugh benched him in favor of this kid, Colin Kaepernick, who was in his 2nd season as a 2nd-round draft pick. 49ers at that point were 6-2-1, but Harbaugh just believed this kid could take them farther than Alex Smith could. Talk about guts. And vision. Was Harbaugh ever right? Kaepernick came within an uncalled pass interference in the end zone of winning that season's Super Bowl. Remember Michael Crabtree? Now Jim Harbaugh has the opportunity to prove the team that eventually fired him, the 49ers, wrong for getting rid of Trey Lance. And now he has a chance to show, or I should say to show up, new Cowboys coach Brian Schottenheimer, who obviously coached and tutored Trey Lance in Dallas. Just watch Jim Harbaugh. He'll rebuild Trey Lance's confidence. Harbaugh will get the most he can get out of this 24-year-old, and that's going to be a whole lot. Harbaugh, who did make a Pro Bowl as a quarterback himself, will do everything in his considerable power to make this kid what the Shanahans originally believed he could be, which was an NFL star. Harbaugh sees Kaepernick. Remember, I said this. You heard it here first.